Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucci, joined as always by Stairs.
Hey.
And this is the Two Nerds Podcast. Before we get to the show, please remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, Stairs. And if you could check out Super Blizzard, Shining Wasato songs, check out his games, Joy Lancer, Stairs, that would be great.
Stairs.
Tonight we're talking about the WWE Pay-Per-View in the year of our Lord Cthulhu 2014. Tables, ladders, and chairs.
And stairs.
And stairs. I'm Eric J. Chucki, joined here as always by Stairs.
Hey.
Now this is the boy, in case this is your first podcast. So last week, before the Dragon Agenting happened, we mentioned that we'd been listening to podcasts. The CM Punk podcast on Colt Cabana, Podcastomania, I believe, is not the name of the show.
I think it's just the Colt Cabana show.
I think he's got a better name for it, but
Art of Wrestling, that's what it's
called. Vince McMahon on Stone Cold's podcast, and a second CM Punk Colt Cabana podcast. I have not heard the last two. Boy has.
Whew! And all right.
I mean, this is colored some shit.
Yeah, this is colored in a few lines, and I'm re-mad about something that you, the listener, heard me get unmad about on this show. So I'll get to that in a moment. We did watch the pay-per-view. We're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably going to be peppered in with a lot of very internal businessy stuff and very backstage stuff, what we know, what I found out. If you don't care about that kind of stuff, I'm sorry, but it's what's on our mind.
You can go to Wikipedia if all you care about is results. I mean, let me paint you a word picture. I've been a wrestling fan since I was old enough to have memories. Like, literally, one of my earliest memories is seeing, I want to say it was Sergeant Slaughter, bloody Hulk Hogan with a steel chair. Like, I'm not even joking, that is one of my earliest memories. This shit is in my blood, okay? And I went from being a little Mark who believed everything, ate his vitamins, said his prayers, wished he could rip his shirt off like Hulk Hogan, okay? To, being a fucking 90s Mark and then learning more about the business and understanding the business. And I want to be super fucking clear before we get into this podcast. I love professional wrestling. I don't know if I could ever distance myself from professional wrestling as a whole, because there's so much about it, not only that shaped me, but that I appreciate as an art form, as a form of media, as a way to tell a story. And I believe, your story isn't that dissimilar.
No, it wasn't Sergeant Slaughter, but fun story, actually, listener. I was a WWE kid, hardcore. I watched Nitro every now and again because it was on earlier, just to fill time until Raw came on. But I was WWE, born and bred. First wrestling I ever watched, however, I was maybe 5 or 6. I was at a friend's house, and I don't even remember this friend, to give you an idea. I just remember he was a friend of mine at the time, and we watched a Rey Mysterio Jr. match. That was one of my first wrestling experiences. And I don't remember who won. I just remember watching him fly around the ring. Could have been someone in a very similar mask. Like I said, I was like 5. You do the math on that. But it was WCW. And then I became a WWE kid. But yeah, no, as I tell anyone who asks, I'm a lifer. I'm not going anywhere. I don't know that I could. Me and professional wrestling are I stopped watching for like 3 years at one point, and I didn't realize how much more boring my life was until I started watching it again. It's something that I do.
Even when I step away from the WWE, because I have several times, before we started this podcast, we'd walked away for a while.
Yeah, we had a couple months, like 6.
Even when I step away from the WWE, wrestling is still very central to me. I run an e-fed. You can look up the definition on Wikipedia. There's a Wikipedia page. I run the competitive kind that's storyline based. And I have for off and on for 10 years now.
I've been a part of that e-fed for 7 of those years.
I've been doing internet wrestling role playing for 12, 13, something like that. I play the video games. This is the first year in as long as I can remember that we didn't pick up the new WWE game.
Oh, at launch. That's important.
I mean, I'll probably grab it eventually. But I got other things I'm doing right now. A lot of stuff for you guys, and just stuff for myself in general. Dragon Age, really.
But it's the first time in a long time we haven't done that.
Just to give you an idea. It's not like
we're done. We're probably going to buy them now. Like, it's just, we are both professional wrestling. It's one of the things that cemented our friendship.
Yeah.
When we first met each other, talking about pro wrestling, talking about role playing, the things you've heard us talk about so much in this podcast, the one long ongoing conversation we've been having since the day we met. Wrestling's a huge part of it. We need to make that very clear.
Yeah. And when I say things like, talking about myself as a booker, I don't. When I'm talking about booking, I'm talking about e-fed. Now, there's a difference. It's not much, but there is a difference between an e-fed booking and pro wrestling booking. It has a lot to do with money.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about money.
And you have less control over your talent in most e-feds as an individual.
Yeah. Because they're not actually working for you.
There's a dynamic. There's a little bit of a difference in the dynamic, but it's very similar because
you're still telling stories.
Yeah, the point is still to tell stories and reward people who are doing their job well. Whether that job be writing something that is really great or performing really great.
And drawing money.
And drawing the crowd. But I just needed to preface before we get into this pay-per-view, which was I'd say a C. I'm going to say a C.
Just on the strength of the last little bit?
Yeah, that last match was really good. And there was some decent stuff early, but...
Yeah, okay. That one match pulls it down a whole letter grade for me.
Oh, man.
We'll get there. But one of the reasons that he wanted to make this very clear, I imagine, and one of the reasons I wanted to make that very clear, is because you're going to hear some very angry-sounding words in the next little while, listener. You're going to hear some very bitter shit come out of our mouths. We love pro wrestling, but we're not exactly the happiest with the E at the moment.
No.
Him more so than me, even.
Yeah, I take some of this shit kind of personally. Because
whereas I take it in stride.
Here's the difference. Now, you are an idea guy, but you've never had the book.
No, I don't fucking want it.
Because, I mean, there's something... And I'm so, I'm not even trying to compare myself to our local federation, ASWA. They have a website. I think you can buy their DVDs. It's nothing special in terms of, athletic prowess.
But it's a lot of heart.
Oh,
and
God,
they clearly love what they do.
They're great people. And there's been a lot of wrestling legends in and out of there. Like, guys who are great in the back room.
Saw Carlito wrestle a match there last year.
Yeah, Carlito. Yeah, he's a cool guy. But I digress a little bit because I do want to talk about this pay-per-view. And I want to talk about wrestling current events. Let's get some of this shit out of the way because some of it really is not worth commenting.
All right, let's fucking move with the podcast.
Okay, Luke Harper and Dolph Ziggler
for the Intercontinental
match. It was a ladder match.
It was. I think you said it best. It was a subpar match with good spots.
Yeah, they had a couple of good spots, but in between those good spots, and Dolph Ziggler blew a couple of them. I mean, I hear people talk on the internet all the time, Spoonie in particular,
About how he blows spots.
About how Dolph Ziggler constantly blows spots. There's nothing but blow spots. I don't see it. I
saw it today.
Yeah, he did it. I'm not even. I can't pretend. That was Dolph.
Yeah, it wasn't Harper. Harper was doing his job.
Harper's job wasn't hard, and they weren't, neither of them, doing anything spectacular. But, like, the wrestling they were doing in between the ladder things it wasn't even...
It wasn't wrestling.
These two guys are better than the match they put on. And adding ladders to these two dudes should have made the match better, and it didn't.
What it should have done is elevate their ability, give them additional tools to tell their story.
Yes.
What it did do was let them have a garbage match.
Yeah, it let him have a crutch.
Well, that's what that's what causes the garbage match stigma.
Yeah.
It's not that there are weapons in the ring. It's when you give certain guys weapons, that's all they fucking use.
Yeah.
That's why you have the term garbage match, because people see that and then they assume every match with weapons in it is going to be that way. That's not necessarily true. There are other matches on this fucking card that prove that, but that is a garbage match. That's what that looks like. When two dudes have access to a weapon of some type, and that's all they fucking use, it's all they fucking do, and so the match is boring.
No, I mean, there's not...
There were good spots in it.
Yeah, there were a couple of really good spots. And I like both of these people.
There was that one spot that completely, swerved you, because they set it up so far in advance of them actually
Yeah, I forgot that ladder was there. That was on the side of the ring near the announce table. They'd set up a ladder crossways, and
like
I think
a bridge.
Dolph or somebody fell on it.
Dolph set it, Harper set it up ages ago, and then eventually Dolph knocked him into it, and he fell on it, and it was like a good 10 minutes in between those two things, long enough for sport to forget that ladder was even there.
Yeah. I was also playing Five Nights at Freddy's, during the...
Because, you pay super attention during pay-per-views.
Well, after the last Raw,
Yeah, you know what? Legit. The last Raw, by the way, listener, that was fucking awful. They did some shit. No, I'll wait till we get there.
We'll wait till we get there. Let me tell you this, before we go on. I don't want to keep you hanging too long. We listen to those podcasts, do whatever. We tuned on Monday Night Raw. Okay? Like the next night. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? Podcast your podcast. Backstage is backstage. It's the product that matters. The product is what pissed us off.
The product is what... For me, the product was what got me over the line and pissed off.
Yeah. I mean, the product, it sealed the deal. But let's continue on. I want to say again, want to reiterate, I like both of these athletes. I like them as performers. I think they can both go places.
You know what? I can save us both some time. I'm reading through the card. There's about one person on this card I don't think you really give a shit about as an athlete, and that's John Cena. Maybe
I
the
don't
Big Show.
care about the Big Show as an athlete. I think he's a wonderful person.
Yeah, oh god, he's just the nicest guy.
But I want to see him less than Mark Henry.
Wow. See, for me, I'd rather see Show. At least Show entertain. At least Show can smile and entertain me.
But he doesn't.
No, he doesn't, but he can. He has that ability. Mark Henry has exactly one entertaining gimmick, and he hasn't done sexual chocolate in years.
See, I don't think you're doing Mark Henry enough credit. But Mark Henry's not even on this pay-per-view, so we'll talk about him some other time. Yeah, all these guys are great people. I hold no ill will against them. Even John Cena. As far as being an athlete and a competitor and a worker. The commentary did a good job of selling the Intercontinental Championship as a real belt for real people.
And selling it as the thing that signals that someone has a bright future, might be heading towards bigger and better things. That's good. They've needed to build the Intercontinental title for a long time. That was a really smart move.
I had been less than affectionately calling it the European Championship for a little while now.
Especially on that Raw. He was
I was
very mad that day.
Yeah. But, because it hasn't fucking mattered. It's been that weird white belt that people wear sometimes. It doesn't fucking matter. And if, you know what, they can talk it up all they want, but if it fucking matters from here on out, if we don't tune into Raw, well, I'm not going to tune into Raw, but if you don't tune into Raw and we don't see the fucking Intercontinental Champion jobbing to everybody and their brother, then they're actually doing something with it.
They need to be able to walk the walk in addition to talking.
Precisely. Dolph Ziggler goes over in this match in a kick I didn't even realize was a kick as the finish.
They just had a bad camera angle on it. They showed another camera angle when you were in another room. It was fine. It was perfectly fine.
Wow. But regardless, I mean, it was
they just had a terrible angle.
Anticlimactic isn't the right word. It was just sort of like, oh, okay, that happened.
The match is over now. Okay,
yeah, fine, whatever. And so long as they walk the walk with Ziggler, I'm okay with him as the Intercontinental Champion. If they don't, if the status quo continues, then this is just, I mean, come on, we just fucking did this. How many people does Dolph Ziggler have to kill to win a match? Instead of John Cena, to get over a little bit backstage. I'm sorry I'm coughing so much. I'm not used to talking. I'm still, like, my throat. It's December, you know. I try to do it away from the mic, because I love you guys. But, next matchup is, Damien Mizdow and The Miz versus the Usos.
Alright, I'm gonna spoil this one. I'm gonna go right to the ending. I want to talk about the match, but this fucking match ends on a DQ. What the fuck?
What's the point?
This is a pay-per-view.
I mean, there are times when that needs to happen. When you've got a hot feud and you want to hang on for another month or whatever, sure.
But
this is not a hot feud.
This is a nothing pay-per-view.
This is nothing.
This was a nothing feud. This was a nothing DQ. It was fucking pointless. It was fucking pointless.
They didn't put over anything other than shit they've already been putting over for a while. Oh, we're here. Hold on. Okay. What did you want to say about the match? Go ahead, get it out.
Damien Mizdow was the reason to watch this match if you want to. The Usos are talented as always. Damien Mizdow didn't get tagged in once, so it was just the Miz in a handicap match versus the Usos, and it was pretty good. Mizdow would come in, do his shtick, his comedy shtick, and it was funny. He's funny. So it works. But ultimately it was a nothing match. It was fucking unimportant. What were you gonna say?
I'm starting to hate this gimmick. And not for the reason you might think. I mean, the humor has been lost on me for a while now, but it was sort of like a whatever, fine, it's over there. There are 2, maybe 3 major reasons that I'm starting to hate this gimmick. Reason number 1 is they are already concurrently running the same fucking gimmick.
Lower in the card.
Which is Adam Rose and the Bunny. Which is a gimmick I also hate. But only because they're wasting all the face momentum they gave Adam Rose and giving it to the fucking Bunny. Now, here's the thing. This is why this is a bad idea, okay? Doesn't matter who's in the suit, because it's not Zack Ryder anymore. He hasn't been in the suit for ages. It doesn't matter who is wrestling in the suit. Once they take off the Bunny mask, all of that heat is gone.
Because people aren't over for Zack Ryder or Justin Gabriel or whoever's in the fucking suit. They like the Bunny.
Alright, but then there's the other problem. You can't just leave him Bunny. Because there's Clown Shoes Wrestling.
And then there's Dragon.
And then there's a fucking Bunny. What's his gimmick? What's he gonna promo as? How long do you think this is gonna work? Pirate Paul Burchill was a better gimmick than this.
I'd like to dispute that, but I can't.
They just never put Pirate Paul Burchill over. They never tried hard enough. I digress. I mean, you're wasting your fucking Andrew WK gimmick that Adam Rose is selling really well. And you're pissing it away for this fucking Bunny. And then concurrently, you're running this Mizdow gimmick. Which bleeds into reason number 2. This Mizdow gimmick and the Adam Rose Bunny gimmick is, spunky upstart gets the better of self-important superstar.
Who he's this nominal employee of.
Yes. But they tag together. Adam Rose and the Bunny is more intentional, but well-intentioned. And The Miz and Mizdow is not intentional.
And not combative.
Right.
So far, The Miz, perfectly fine with this.
Yeah, and Mizdow is also perfectly fine with this. But here's my problem with this, is the whole joke is that Damien Sandow is The Miz's understudy, he's doing all these goofy, kooky things. Eventually, you're gonna have one of them or the other gets upset and tries to get what they believe is rightfully theirs. I don't see a world in which the WWE, and this isn't my pessimism, this is from years of watching, and knowing how they treat certain talent, I don't see a world in which the WWE lets Damian Sandow go over The Miz in terms of heat. I don't see a world in which he becomes your upper mid-card person, like The Miz currently is purported to be. I can see a world where they bury The Miz. That's fine. They do that all the time. But Damian Sandow is going to always at least be equal level to The Miz. They're not going to push him. First of all, he's too brown. And not the right kind of brown. And I'm not trying to dig up any shit. That's just how the WWE works.
Yeah, it's just facts.
I mean, yeah. When's the last time we had a black champion? I believe it was The Rock.
Yeah.
Or maybe Mark Henry on SmackDown.
If you count that championship.
Yeah.
They're one belt now, so I suppose you can.
I suppose you can. So, Mark Henry. Cool. Still, it doesn't happen a lot. And there are plenty of incredibly talented African-American, fucking Latino, all kinds of multiracial athletes that work harder and better than a lot of the main event guys who are super Caucasian. And they don't get a shake for old school reasons. And that's the part I have a problem with. Look, if they're shitty actors, if they're shitty wrestlers, who cares? I
love Kofi Kingston, but I've heard him cut promos.
Yeah, he's not the best. I'd love to see him at the World Championship. Okay, but when R-Truth was fucking white hot fire.
Yeah, why the fuck didn't R-Truth get a better push?
Why? Like, you took everything that guy was, that lightning he captured in a bottle, and his in-ring presence, which was also lightning in a bottle, and you had him right there with John Cena, and you pissed it away into the wind.
Apparently he pissed somebody off backstage.
Oh, I'm sure, which is, I mean, another problem I've had with the WWE for a while. Stuff that you keep me from doing when I'm booking, and that's, don't punish the character for what the handler does.
Yeah, don't punish the character's momentum for what the talent is doing, because all you're harming them. You're harming your own product.
Yeah. Which WWE has started doing left, right, and center. Where was Cesaro?
Started nothing. They've always been.
Oh, well, they got way less bad about it for several years. Like, this downturn has been in the last 6 months.
And it's been fucking mid-2000s Triple H levels of downturn, too.
Yeah, I don't ever see this going anywhere for Damian Sandow. He's just not anything they would consider marketable.
Which is sad. But, I mean, he's perfectly capable of being a mechanic. And
yeah, I mean, and I love the guy. I mean, like I said, that's why this gimmick is pissing me off. It's not because of the actual gimmick. It's because this is going nowhere. Also, you're booking the same fucking gimmick twice. Look, that fairy dust has done some wonders and made us forget a lot of shit that happened 3 months ago. That's the golden fucking number in wrestling, is 3 months. You give it 3 months, people forget about everything.
Unless you keep bringing it up.
Unless you keep bringing it up. Unless you remind us. But you're doing intentionally. 3 months. 3 months is how long it takes to repackage a guy. 3 months is how long it takes to be married to a feud. It's the ideal length of a feud. But they're concurrent. It's not even 3 weeks.
I think they get it.
Really upsets me.
You've been repeating yourself for like 5 minutes
no,
now. So.
I know. Well, I mean, I don't expect the listener to necessarily understand. I'm not an old school booker. I don't really subscribe to old school, professional wrestling ideas a lot. And I mean this in the positive way, not the, I'm quietly saying racist way. But I feel comfortable as the Two Nerds podcast making that statement, racism is bad.
Well, yeah, that seems
That's about as far as we're going to get politically. Don't be a racist.
That seems bad. That's just super bad.
Back to what I was saying. I don't expect them to necessarily understand. And I'm not an old school booker. I don't even like face and heel stuff. Like the idea of there being a face and there being a heel. There's someone who's over with the fans and there's someone who's not. Or there's someone who pisses the fans off.
Well, that's all face and heel really is supposed to mean.
Right, but the fans are finicky bitches. So, the problem comes when creative goes, but I wrote this guy to be a superhero, and this guy to be Satan. The fans like them the other way around. Can't have that! Eric Rowan in the Big Show.
Oh god, this fucking match. This fucking match was awful. Awful.
There were like 2 good spots.
One.
Yeah.
One meh, one, and one good one.
Yeah. You said good at the time, so that's what stuck in my head. Eric Rowan was working his juicy booty off. I mean, he was trying to sell the Big Show.
Fucking Show was busy burbling around the ring.
I can't remember the last time I saw Show this bad.
He was just visibly did not care.
Didn't give a fuck. Well, why would he this match? What does it fucking matter?
It was completely fucking pointless. It was the steel stairs match. It was the reason it was tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs. The pay-per-view. Oh my... That's a fucking stupid name, by the way.
Here's the fucking thing. The only reason they added and stairs is because John Cena's been making this fucking gimmick of throwing stairs at people.
He didn't even do it. He didn't even do it. They made and stairs because of this match. The whole reason that the pay-per-view had and stairs was this fucking dog shit match.
And I'm not going to blame Eric Rowan in the slightest. This dude was moving. He put his everything out there. He doesn't have as much everything as other wrestlers, but he damn sure had more than Big Show had to give.
And he was working his ass off. Big Show was not meeting that commitment.
No, he was going like 2 fart miles per hour.
Those fucking stairs you can't sell me a whole match of those.
And if you're going to sell a whole match of those stairs being super heavy and super strong and super durable, maybe have it in fucking Dolph Ziggler's match, where he's a little guy who's gonna look weak picking up them big mean stairs. Not in a match where the giant who, like, throws people around like fucking grapes is, like, gently throwing them on the breeze as they float away.
Because it doesn't make him look strong. It makes those things look flimsy. John Cena is ridiculously fucking strong. I think we can all agree on that. The man is stronger than he even looks like he would be, and he looks like a jacked up muscle freak. And he sells those stairs like they weigh 1 billion pounds when he throws them. He sells them so well. Big Show did not bother to. He was fucking picking them up by one hand, tossing them around.
I mean, it was just...
Because they're fucking diamond plate. They're not heavy.
Relatively speaking. I wouldn't want to lug one around, but...
They're probably about as heavy as an equal-sized, like, something about that big, empty steel box. Because that's what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, not light, certainly 50 pounds, I would say. Like, upper end, they were selling, they tried to package them as 250 pounds each. No, they're fucking not. They don't weigh as much as a guy. Because John Cena, strong as he is, couldn't throw Dolph Ziggler to the fucking bleachers.
And this was all Show. He was going slow motion. He was not throwing hard enough. In the end, Show goes over because he hit his knockout punch, and it didn't even look like a knockout punch.
He didn't.
It looked like a regular punch.
He didn't hit his knockout punch. He just he ended up like he did a move, and then he pinned Rowan down with the stairs.
No, yeah, the move he did was his knockout punch.
Really, Rowan was like
on his knees, and then Show, like, I was gonna go does this to him. Show punches him, like...
Didn't even notice that.
No wind-up.
And
Zero.
He never does wind-up. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but it wasn't even... It was bad. Slow and shitty.
It was bad enough that I didn't fucking notice.
Yeah. And then they had to replay it for me to notice. That's the only fucking reason I noticed. And it wasn't just because the angle wasn't on Rowan's butt, because it was, so there. Yeah, Big Show goes over for who knows what fucking reason.
Who gives a fuck? This match meant nothing.
The next match is John Cena and Seth Rollins. It was a tables match, and if Cena had lost, Cena won. He would no longer have been the number 1 contender for the championship.
I pointed this out to him, because we went into this pay-per-view with a bad mindset, but I pointed out to him at the time, we live in a world where John Cena is working a mid-card match with Seth Rollins, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4 matches away from the main event. That's where we're at right now.
I mean, you know.
And the main event is 2 new hot talents. I like that. Whatever other issues I have with the business right now, and whatever other issues I have with the E in particular, I like that decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's a silver lining. I think it's a silver lining on a cloud made of poop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree.
But this actually wasn't a bad match.
No, it was perfectly serviceable.
It was predictable. The biggest part was Roman Reigns coming back at the end to fuck up Big Show.
We had heard it was going to be Randy Orton.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Randy.
But, yeah, no, it was Roman Reigns, and I'm super happy because that gives me a reason to watch Raw.
I'm super sad because it gives me a reason to watch Raw.
Yeah. But...
And we live in the same house.
He's back, and he's back months earlier than he was expected. Someone on Twitter said it, I thought it was very funny. What better way to celebrate a mended hernia than hefting the Big Show through a table?
I don't usually like to do name drops because it's like mentioning a better...
Don't talk about better music during your shitty music. We try not to mention other internet celebrities who do better shit than us during our shitty show.
But if you don't know her, Kelly Turnbull, Sela Squid, manly guys doing manly things. I believe it's the punchline is machismo.com.
Yeah, it is.
She's really fucking cool.
And the comic is really fucking cool.
Yeah, if you like video games at all and like taking the piss out of manliness, she's a pretty cool person. Not like in a mean-spirited way.
No, like from a place where satire should be coming from, a place of love.
Exactly, yes. She's an amazing animator as well. But we're here to talk about wrestling. Yeah, this was serviceable. It was
perfectly serviceable. It was a match. It was a match.
It had the same problems any fucking John Cena match has, and it had the same predictable, authority bullshit without the authority around.
And they did a couple surprising things before the Roman Reigns thing. They had, it was Jamie Noble. It was Joey Mercury. Joey Mercury got offense off on John Cena by himself.
But then a ref got offense off on John Cena and...
a ref let go of their arms and they fell down. That's not offense.
He kind of pushed him.
He got moves.
Remember, he pushed him? Because the other refs were holding their hands up and the other ref came in and was like, no! And they both went down.
Because they were selling that they were beat up.
Yeah, I know.
But he got, don't fucking take this away from Joey Mercury.
No, I'm not going to
take
this away from Joey Mercury.
He got solo offense off on a standing, prepared to fight John Cena.
Oh yeah, also,
came off
fucking, Cena, reckless as shit for a minute, throws, Seth Rollins into a ladder. Ladder nearly flies into the crowd.
Cena throws Seth Rollins into the timekeeper's booth, and Sport, fucking flipped his shit because he thought he was throwing Seth Rollins at the crowd.
Which is okay if you tell the crowd first. I mean, that's time-honored wrestling stuff. Move away, I'm gonna throw him at you. And then security moves him away and you throw him. But no, Cena was just like, oops! And then I realized it was the timekeeper's table, and the only people who could have died by Seth Rollins were Lillian Garcia and Mr. Timekeeper.
Mr. Timekeeper.
Who can receive perfectly fine medical attention backstage at the WWE offices after the match.
Oh, yes. Let's talk. I'm sure the WWE offices are capable of perfectly fine medical attention, are they?
There was also the point where Cena fucked off and got a bit of railing, because I guess tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs isn't enough. We need to add and rails.
Yeah, and the guardrail. He took some of the guardrail.
Just to beat the fuck out of Joey Mercury.
There was a medium part of the match.
Or no, it was Jamie Noble. Yeah, it was Jamie Noble who wanted to beat the fuck up Joey. That's when Joey Mercury came in and got some offense.
It was, he got real pissed off at Jamie Noble for a minute. He, chased him up the ramp. I guess Jamie Noble, insulted his mom or something. It was ridiculous. But it was perfectly serviceable. It wasn't anything good. It wasn't anything bad. It was a match.
Yeah.
Cena went over. Roman Reigns is back. And that was the only thing that elevated the match. Roman Reigns cut a promo after the match, stumbled over his lines, and by God, for the love of fuck, let him do his own promos. He's bad at delivering your shitty writing. He's not good at delivering your shitty writing. Some people are. John Cena can make gold out of your shitty writing. Because sometimes I can tell it's your shitty writing and he's still good. He's not. Roman Reigns can't. Let him do his own shit. Let him be whoever he really is. He seems like he's a more fun, charismatic guy than the character you've given him. Let him be that guy. You will not regret it. You let Bray Wyatt be his guy up until very recently. Just for fuck's sake. Anyway, moving on.
Match 6, Abella versus AJ Lee for the Divas butterfly.
It was evil Bella. Well, I'm sorry.
They're both evil now.
Yeah,
again.
So it was big. It was the Bella with a larger bust line. And the Bella who has gotten implants.
Nikki, says Wikipedia.
Sure. The Bella who isn't married to Bryan Danielson.
This was actually a good match. It was,
it was the best match up to that point in the card.
Yeah. Nikki Bella is not a good wrestler.
And fucking AJ Lee elevated her.
Yeah.
That was it was a genuinely good match.
Chris Benoit in the late 90s, she carried that match. You thought I was going to go dark on that one. You got ready to react like, oh, but wait, no, I just complimented the man.
In a way, that's kind of dark.
When he hung out on SmackDown and carried every single fucking match.
Even the ones he wasn't in somehow.
All while taking a piss. Nikki goes over in the end, because she fucking maces AJ in the face. With, as far as I can tell, real mace.
Yeah, with what the docs were treating afterwards, with the way they were treating AJ.
Well, it was the pink on her face.
And the fucking inflammation and the pink and the inflammation on her eyes. She apparently just fucking maced AJ Lee. Which, fucking AJ is a trooper for agreeing to that. Yeah, because she didn't,
if she agreed to it. And
Trooper... No, there's no way they would have. Look, if she didn't agree to it, that's the last time we see Nikki Bella.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, because she goes into the negative zone. CM Punk erupts from the ring.
Like
and fucking Pepsi plunges her through it. And she's never seen again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guarantee AJ agreed to that, because if she didn't, that's the last time we see Nikki Bella. You don't get to actually, there's taking liberties during a match, and then there's fucking macing someone.
Wow. But still, she came at her. She got maced in the face. For a second was like, ow, mace, and then was like, I will end you.
She fucking kept doing the match. If that was real mace, fucking 4 million points to AJ, because I've gotten maced, okay? That shit is unpleasant.
I like the ref in that match a lot. He was, Bree kept yelling at him to ask her, ref, ask her. And he was like, I am. You're interrupting me asking her. And then when AJ went down, he was, smelling her a little bit. You smell like pepper.
Weird.
We made fun where there was none. This next match didn't matter, but it was...
But unlike the show match, it was good.
This is the second best match on the card, I think.
Yeah, second best match on the card, I'd say. And after the low point that was the show match, the card sort of kept an upward trajectory.
Yeah, it did pretty good.
It was Ryback versus Kane. Ryback goes over, just to get that out of the way. And
it was a chairs match.
It's a chairs match. They used a lot of fucking chairs.
Oh yeah, they did not disappoint. They used as many chairs as they used stairs.
This is as good a time as any to talk about one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. So, the CM Punk podcast, for those of you who haven't listened to it, I would say, and for those of you who are interested, because it's very business heavy, and it's a very personal story, and it's not always pleasant, and Punk is very bitter. He owns that. He mentions it. But I would suggest listening to it. It's not a bad listen. But, okay, so Ryan Ryback apparently either was so fucking green he didn't know how to do his job, or just legitimately hated CM Punk enough to be very unprofessional. He apparently took a lot of liberties with CM Punk, as in, fucking hit him as hard as he could, and kicked him as hard as he could, and broke CM Punk's ribs on more than one occasion. And you get the sense from this match that CM Punk spent a lot of time in the Ryback spent a lot of time in the doghouse after the CM Punk thing.
CM Punk, nothing. He had a bad attitude backstage.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, and, he had a shit attitude. What they did, kayfabe. What they did is they took him around in, dark matches and stuff. They had him work that thing with, Curtis Axel.
Yeah.
Is that what his name is? Michael McGillicuddy.
Yeah, with Henning.
With Henning. And they had him do, fucking Cancer Kid stuff. And, try to, whatever you would consider, what do they call that? When you work in a place and they're telling you how you need to act like a nice person.
Sensitivity training.
Yeah, basically. WWE's version of sensitivity training. And he came back a lot better. On Twitter, he's a lot nicer now. He got his feathers ruffled when the Punk podcast came out because he's got a big ego.
And he really does. And I'm sure from his perspective, he was just very new and very scared. And look, full disclosure, he's a giant jacked up muscle man, and CM Punk's tiny and made twigs. He might not have meant to break him.
Well, muscly twigs.
Yeah.
But still, comparatively speaking.
He's wiry, but fucking look at the two of them. He might not have meant to. He just might not realize how much more fragile someone who doesn't have 19 extra pounds of muscle on their rib cage is, comparatively speaking. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He might have also just been an asshole. You never know.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
But he's come back a lot better. You got the sense in this match that they were, as you put it, taking him for a walk. They put him with a professional who is more than capable of hurting Ryan if Ryan starts to act like a jackass. And let him wrestle a match, pay-per-view, let him do a thing, and sort of just to see how he did. He went over in the end, looked like a good match. Kane did not look pissed off at the end, which was good.
There was a couple of times I think the spots went a little poorly, but overall, I think it was a good success.
Yeah, it was a good match. It looked good, and he didn't. And like I said, Kane did not walk away looking legitimately mad, unlike Punk did every time he was in the ring.
Oh God, yeah.
For again, good fucking reason. Okay, I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, I had fun with the match. Next match, I had spoilers about beforehand. I accidentally got on Twitter.
I requested the spoilers when I found out because I was fucking worried about this match. You know, this podcast, big Rusev fans, the both of us. Kurt Angle isn't coming to WWE. He didn't want to work full-time. They wanted him to work full-time, so it's not going to happen. That's who they were planning on feeding Rusev to. So when Jack Swagger came back, I figured, well, I guess he's their plan B. He's going to get the Rusev win because they got to give it to someone, and Kurt Angle ain't going to be it. And fucking all my Christmases come at once? No, Rusev wins.
This was a short match.
Short as shit.
Yeah, and I don't doubt it's because Jack Swagger was fucking worthless in it.
Probably because Jack Swagger was pretty pissed off that he was getting buried by Rusev again.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame him there, but still work a better match. I mean, he tried a little bit, but like, don't phone it in when you're coming just before the main event.
And visibly he was phoning it in. He didn't give a shit. He wasn't trying that hard. It was a short match. Rusev went over clean, went over strong.
Yeah.
Went over like a face. The heel had attacked him before the match to weaken one of his body parts. He fought through it with valor and honor and beat him clean. Rusev's a fucking face. I don't get what you people don't understand. Like, oh, he beat up Zeb Coulter. Zeb Coulter's a racist.
Yeah. What did we just say? Racism is not cool.
This is simple. Rusev's a face.
He is.
Rusev's accepted. Rusev is a face.
He's always going up against crazy odds and coming through.
Yeah, crazy odds fighting two giant men who are ganging up on him and attacking him outside the ring and cheating, and he wins clean. Fighting 2-on-1 matches, wins clean. Fighting these ridiculous odds, wins clean.
And this is a great example of why I hate the whole face-heel dynamic.
He doesn't cheat. He doesn't use weapons. He'll get crafty every now and again, but no more so than Dean Ambrose or John fucking Cena. Less than John Cena.
Less, by leaps and bounds. I hate the whole face-heel dynamic, especially as it comes over in the commentators.
Because they sell him as Satan. I don't know why.
And because he's from Russia, and Russia is a dick.
Russia is a dick. I mean, that's true.
But, that's it. That's it. And his manager's kind of smarmy.
And she is kind of smarmy.
But she's not even as big a heel as fucking some of the faces.
John Cena comes to mind again.
John Cena does come to mind again. But anyway, I mean, this is just, these are old complaints I have about wrestling. I have my own vision of how this shit should work, and nobody listens to it. Let's go to the main event.
Main event. This one's good news, folks. And good news that comes from bad fucking news. So, one of the podcasts I listened to recently was Stone Cold talking to Bray Wyatt. Out of kayfabe, talking about the inception of the character, talking about how he sees himself, how he sees the character. One of the things he very specifically said was that he doesn't want to ever be the bad guy who goes out and degrades the fans and talks about how shitty they are and how much he hates the fans and all that. He specifically stated he doesn't want to be that guy because he thinks he's better than that. He thinks he can get done what needs to get done without stooping to that kind of stupid bullshit. So Raw happens, and he does exactly that. And you can tell because it's different words than he would use. It's stilted. He's clearly uncomfortable saying it. You can tell he got that from creative. They gave him that and told him to fucking say it. I am still royally pissed about that. Because this guy has steered his own ship to stardom. He's over as fuck. He is hot, at least.
He survived John Cena burial.
Yeah, and with aplomb. And he helped push so much of your talent. And he's worked so well with so many people. And he's done it by steering his own ship, being his own man, and figuring out the way he wants to tell the story for his character. And it hasn't gone wrong yet. And then you give him your stupid, fucking, shitty soap opera writing to spit out. And he tries his best with it. He makes it as good as he possibly can. But I can fucking tell. I can see the strings, assholes.
Here's the problem with this. We're going to go on for a long time. This was a really fun, really good match. Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt put on a really fun, really good hardcore match.
And in the match, both their gimmicks were fine. They told the story that they wanted to tell. They wrestled.
And as my constant request, there were lots of wrestler kisses.
Yeah.
Anytime two wrestlers get up close and they hold it for too long, I'm like, well, now they need to kiss.
And a couple times they did.
Yeah, just like little...
And
makes me happy.
They did jokes. They sold their gimmick. They both laughed and did the I'm crazy thing.
There's the kendo stick in the corner.
Where he stabbed Dean Ambrose in the eye with a broken end of a kendo stick.
Yeah, it was tight.
It was
some cool spots.
It was a brutal match, but it was a good match. When they wrestled, they did good wrestling. There were a lot of good sequences. There was a lot of good spots.
That was two guys going out there giving 110%. They don't have the best chemistry with each other, but they gave 110%. They had the environment in which they were capable of doing so.
And it was two new talents who'd been given the main event slot on a pay-per-view and told, go, earn the main event. And they did. That was the best match on the card.
And the more interesting result happened. Dean Ambrose going over, coming back with his, yeah! That would have been predictable. The good guy is back. This is the rubber. He wins the end. He doesn't.
No, he lost.
Bray Wyatt wins clean.
Yeah, clean. Dean Ambrose was a victim of his own hubris. He tried to kill Bray Wyatt with a monitor, and the monitor exploded in his face.
And Bray Wyatt was like, well, okay. Sister Abigail, the end.
And obviously, this feud's not done.
No, yeah.
And honestly, I don't know that it should be. They got more places they can go.
Yeah, I think so long as they both...
So long as they don't continue to fuck with Bray Wyatt's gimmick, I think we're fine.
So yeah, I'd say a C.
I'd say C-. That fucking show match, dude.
And the Rusev match was nothing. It was a relief. But that's all.
Yeah, I was happy that he won, but it wasn't a match.
No.
Honestly, fucking, that's probably another reason Jack Swagger was mad. That was a fucking squash match.
Yeah. So wrestling. Okay, let's do this in a little bit of order here. Obviously we only have 10-ish minutes.
I'm okay with going over on this.
As always. I don't want to go too far though. Because we have Betty Bye.
To quote Vince McMahon, you know what? I own the network. We'll add 10 minutes. It's fine.
You know what else I want to say before we get into this? I still love and respect Vince.
I still respect Vince deeply. I think he's still so very much important and so very much a canny businessman. I just don't know that he has the vision anymore.
I don't know that he needs to be in the spot anymore. There's a time when it's time to bow out. I don't know that Trips is the person to take over.
Well, we haven't seen Trips' book. He's not.
I suppose we haven't.
Never had the book. It's always been Vince.
I suppose, yeah, and I've always been pretty fond of what Triple H has been doing with talent scouting. I'll give him that. But
so maybe he'd be a great booker. I think it's time for Vince to put away. And this is coming from a Vince McMahon fan.
Oh, God, both of us. If you guys used to watch the videos, if any of you listeners out there used to be viewers, we had a little Vince McMahon poster of them doing the devil horns right by the Two Nerds sign.
It was literally, we had it so that he was pointing with his devil horns up to the Two Nerds sign.
We like Vince McMahon.
It's time to put the book away.
I think now, if I'm being perfectly honest, I thought Eric Bischoff was a better booker.
See, Eric Bischoff had better ideas.
Yeah, he had better ideas. You're right.
He had no fucking follow through.
No, he had no fucking follow through. But then he wouldn't hire guys like Vince Russo. But I digress. So the CM Punk podcast came out, and I've been hearing a little bit of scuttlebutt about it, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to listen to it. I had a day off. Nobody was around, so I just fucking turned it on, and didn't even play Dragon Age. I just sat there and fucking grounded up some Pokemon levels and listened to CM Punk talk to Colt Cabana about what happened. Because I've been wanting to know forever, and you've heard this story told on the podcast in little pieces and bits and pieces here. CM Punk, I mean, I have a hard time pinning down a favorite wrestler for a lot of reasons, but he's the closest thing I've had in a long fucking time. The closest thing to a wrestling hero I've had in a long fucking time. I have a lot of respect for the guy, I have a lot of admiration for the guy, and, with him leaving the WWE the way he did, raised a lot of uncomfortable questions. Uncomfortable questions that had been raised a year earlier when The Rock fucking bailed on his situation.
And I still deeply respect CM Punk as a talent. I deeply respect his acumen for the business and his ability to tell stories. And I don't disagree with him leaving when he did. When you listen to the podcast, the stories he tells, which I don't want to get too deep into.
Yeah, there's no need to get into it.
If you want to know, go listen.
Yeah. I mean, we'll bring up relevant bits, but
legitimate reasons to bow out.
And shit got only more fucked up after that.
Yeah, it's just completely worse, and he's still really bitter about a couple things. And I'm not saying he's in the wrong there. But I am disappointed in him, and I don't think that's ever going to change.
And I think that comes from different perspectives on what makes a person worthwhile between you and I.
Yeah.
And that's more personal stuff that you don't need to hear about, listener. That's what Eric and the boy talk about as friends. But then you listened to the Stone Cold Vince podcast.
I did.
Because you listen to Stone Cold's podcast anyway. I'm not much of a podcast guy, ironically.
I listen to his occasionally. I have one or two podcasts I listen to a lot, and then a bunch I just pick from.
Sure.
I listen to the Stone Cold Vince podcast. If you want to see a man spend half an hour dodging some fucking questions like they're bullets, listen to that podcast. Vince does not want to give a straight answer on anything. Stone Cold manages to get a couple out of him. And sidebar... You want to know the thing I'm really mad about, listener? The Undertaker had no part in the decision to give his win to Brock Lesnar. He didn't make that call. It wasn't his idea. It was Vince's idea, and Vince made the call. And Taker is a fucking professional, so he did it. I am fucking furious about that. Who the fuck are you to make that call?
Vince McMahon.
Yeah, no, motherfucker. You fucking Taker should have been the one to make that call. Taker had deep respect from everyone in the locker room. He was the leader of the locker room for years. He was probably your most professional, respected motherfucker. You could have at least consulted him first, asshole.
We were talking about ASWA earlier. American States Wrestling Alliance. Seriously, go to their website. It's not bad. If you want to have fun watching some guys, in the indies of the business. Check them out. Throw some money their way. They're good people. But, you know, when they have their little Hall of Fame ceremonies, when they tear down kayfabe a little bit and they talk about, you know, their big matches in interviews, when they talk about their big matches, these guys, these little guys, some of whom have appeared on TV, or even in dark matches.
And some haven't.
Bad Boy Barry Hardy, for example, if you remember back in the fucking late 80s, early 90s. He's there all the time. They are, out of everybody they talk about, the person they speak with the most fondness, The Undertaker.
These little guys who, you know, they might never have, they certainly none of them have ever been big stars in the WWE where Undertaker made his bones.
Sure.
They've had little interactions with him, and they're so impressed that they speak with deep respect about the man.
And these are guys behind the scenes. This isn't fucking us going, Undertaker's a ghost, so he's the coolest. These are guys who are literally backstage. Not even, and look, if you want to take the piss out of me and you want to go, who are you, fucking armchair, you know, Vince McMahon? You don't know shit about booking. You don't know how it is. You don't know. Fine. You know what? Take the piss out of me, whatever. These guys do.
And they speak about Mark Calloway with nothing but the deepest respect and admiration. You could have at least asked. You you fucking asshole.
And this is the beginning of this molehill. I mean, there's no sense in us rolling this ball, this stone to gather moss. Basically, what it comes down to, what we have learned between that Bray Wyatt podcast, between this Vince McMahon podcast, and the CM Punk podcast, is that WWE does not care about its long-term fans.
They don't care about that. They don't really so much care about their talent.
Oh God, yeah, no, they're
beyond,
which that's always been the case.
Yeah,
that's
nothing new.
I don't understand how WWE as a company can continue to exist, hiring part-time contractors exclusively and not giving them any benefits. Half the shit I respect CM Punk for was the stuff he was trying to do backstage.
Trying to fix for the guys in the locker room.
Do you want to know why we pimp the network so hard, even when WWE's being fucking stupid? I'm not canceling my subscription now, and I don't want to watch. Because they crossed a fucking line with me. You tell me to my face that you don't give a shit what I think, then fine, fuck you. I'll go watch WCW. Now, I fully fucking plan on it. But I'm not going to stop paying my $9.99. Because when you take away those pay-per-view tickets, when you take that shit away, you know, yeah, you're taking money out of John Cena's pocket and fucking Randy Orton's pocket and Triple H's pocket. But who fucking cares, because they got millions of dollars falling out of their pants all the time. But you're also taking money out of hungry motherfuckers like Eric Rowan, like fucking Luke Harper. Are we going to remember these guys in 5 years? Or is it going to be the fucking Mean Street Posse?
And when you don't subscribe to the network and when you don't invest, look, Vince makes a lot of money off people who buy the network, and he wants to make more, and that's Vince. The top two talents always going to make the most money, but motherfucker, this is pro wrestling, and if you want to support the industry, fucking support the industry, because these guys have bills, and they have families, and they have lives. So if tossing $9.99 a month WWE's way, or buying tickets to an ASWA show, or, you know, occasionally when we can afford it, getting Chikara or whatever.
Yeah, wrestling is a great way to look at Chikara videos.
That's a way to help support an industry that I deeply love and respect. I'm more than happy to do it.
And, I mean, we're the guys who are always saying vote with your wallet, you know? Here it's a lot harder because, like, we weren't the major moneymaker in the first place. We're not at shows buying merch. We don't have that kind of fucking money. We bought WrestleMania once a year, and we've even only been doing that for 3 years.
But they changed their pricing model to a model I can do. I can afford $9.99 a month. And so until they piss me off enough that I don't want to give them money anymore that hard, I will give them my $9.99 a month, because look, wrestling is cycles. This is going to end. They will get better again.
I mean, eventually, Vince is going to either wise up or step down, and things will change.
He's got to die eventually.
Well, I don't know if I want to wish for that.
Well, I don't wish for that. It's just
he has said he's going to die in the chair, so you know that's fair. But the wind will change. So you know, until then, I'm going to keep paying to let Tyson Kidd wear his hair however he wants.
Yeah, and have access to old WCW, which we can watch. Have access to old pay-per-views. So if I really want to watch, you know, pay-per-views from back when I liked wrestling more, I can fucking go back and I can fucking do that. I can just go watch those pay-per-views.
Yeah. So WWE doesn't care about its longtime fans. Doesn't care about its wrestlers. I mean, they care about the big money talent. They care about John Cena.
Because they don't even care about all the big money talent. Again, the CM Punk podcast proves that.
They have been literally flying by the seat of their pants for a long fucking time. Longer than I thought.
They don't make plans. They don't make plans beyond not even 3 months, a month, a pay-per-view cycle. They don't make plans.
Except for John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena has his shit planned in advance. Everyone else, fucking, who knows? This month you're going to do this. Oh, we need you to do that. Okay, well, never mind. Do this. It's complete fucking pants on head. No idea where they're going. Bullshit.
Which is just stupid.
Because they hire bad, awful writers, and they don't plan because they don't know what the fuck they overcommit to shit. They overcommit to a 3-hour Raw. Vince talked on his podcast with Stone Cold about how 3 hours is a lot of fucking time to fill.
And they don't even fill it with stuff that people want to see.
No,
they fill it with the stuff that they think will make more money.
Or they fill it with stupid, clown shoes ass storylines because that's all those soap opera writers know how to write.
And you know what? Okay, fuck it. We're being harsh on these writers. They're fucking people too. Let me put this out here. Let me tell you the problem here. Okay?
I'm sure Freddie Prinze Jr. was fine.
I heard he did great things with SmackDown, but anyway, I'm a writer too. So I don't really write scripts right now, but I could. I'd love to write for a wrestling promotion. But here's the problem with this. Here's the problem. Here's why we're mad that they have soap opera writers. It's not because soap operas are bad. They're schlocky, but so's fucking wrestling.
Wrestling's a fucking soap opera.
Yeah.
Right? Let's cut it.
Sure. The problem is, you shouldn't need writers. Okay? Between your booking team, your fucking talent relations guy, your fucking card maker guy, and if that's a little council of 5 people, whatever, that's fine. Between, those people backstage, those important dudes, that dozen people, maybe. And I'm talking about in the size of WWE, a dozen people sounds fine. And the wrestlers.
There's like fucking 20, 30 writers. Look, if you want to look at this purely as a work of fiction, purely as a story that's being told, fucking Friends didn't have that many writers. Fucking ER didn't have that many writers when it was super hot. Fucking Grey's Anatomy doesn't have that many writers. Game of Thrones doesn't have that many writers. The Walking Dead doesn't have that many writers. That is too many cooks in the fucking kitchen, okay?
And, I mean, it creates a disjointed program. And priorities become fucked up. Because when it's just the wrestlers and the booking team. And again, by booking team, I mean like a dozen people for the WWE. You have 2 people. You have 2 agendas. Agenda number 1 is the booking team. What's going to make us the most popular, i.e. make us the most money. Agenda number 2 is the wrestler. What's going to make me the biggest star? What's going to be really fucking cool?
Make me the most money.
Right. I mean, let's call a spade, money. Who are you gonna trust?
It's who do you trust?
Got you again with it. Damn.
You'll never not get me with that.
That's it. The writers, they want to get their stories over. They want to fucking, get their share of the backstage money pie. That's a third agenda. Their agenda is not to make something good. It's to make something that social media will talk about. And that's not necessarily what good means. Like, this is the defense that WWE has lovingly crafted to hide behind when they're not doing as well as they should. And they haven't been doing as well as they should because of this shit. But on social media, we're trending worldwide.
Super duper. But look, you're still putting out a shitty product and people aren't buying your network.
I mean, and you know, social media tweets, hashtag whatever, that doesn't get you fucking money. It doesn't. It doesn't. YouTube clicks, thumbs ups give you money if you want to hit that button since you've been here this time. I mean, we'd appreciate it.
Listening to us fucking whinge. It's just, look, I love pro wrestling. I do. The fucking E is just, it's in such a fucked situation right now.
They're doing it wrong. Yeah, okay. You guys are on the internet. Have you ever seen that comic? There's a whole bunch of panels to it, but the first 4 are the most popular. It's a dog sitting at a table. And his house is on fire. He's smiling. And, like, it gets progressively worse over 3 panels. And in the last panel, he says, "This is fine."
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
That's where they are right now. They're sitting on a fucking sinking ship. And they don't even have the good grace and self-awareness to be playing the violin.
I'm not saying this is the end of the WWE. I'm not
certainly
saying,
not.
No,
It'll bounce back. But
it'll do its thing.
It's real hard to be here watching it start to take on water, okay?
And that's where I'm standing. You know, listener, if there's something you can take away from this, what made me want to stop watching WWE? Because if he's in the room with me and he turns it on, I'm probably still going to watch it. I'll probably be here next month for the Royal Rumble. I'll probably watch that pay-per-view too, and let you know what I feel.
I'm watching the Rumble, even if I have to tap out from Raw. I'm watching the Rumble because it's a spectacle.
And that's fair. I can't really disagree with that. I want to hang in as long as I can, either until we find another wrestling to talk about, because you listeners love the wrestling, or until the WWE gets better. I don't know which one's going to happen first. But what made me go, fuck it, I'm done, is the pettiness. Bray Wyatt got big in a way you didn't want. The WWE, go back and fucking watch. You won't, but go back and fucking watch, because I'm not lying here. Fucking just listen to our podcast. The WWE wanted Bray Wyatt to rise as this hated heel, as Satan, Lucifer, heel Undertaker, whoever that bad guy is in Supernatural. They wanted him to be that. And instead, he became this fucking cult leader of an actual cult of fans. Because we're smarter now.
And
the internet exists.
Fucking charismatic.
And he's cool. So instead of taking that and rolling with it and making fucking Firefly t-shirts and fucking doing what one would do when they are handed something that is printing fucking money, they start hitting it with a hammer and going, no,
be what we want you to be. You beat up Jerry the King Lawler. That'll get you booze. And it got him booze for all of 20 minutes.
For the duration of the beatings up.
And you do this, and you tell the fans they suck. That'll get you booze. It got them to stop cheering. It didn't even get to booze.
Yeah, there were a couple of boos. And then tonight they were just back. Hey, Firefly's cool. We like you, Bray Wyatt.
He's fucking cool!
But because they're marketing this PG product, because they feel that opening the market to kids is the best way to get money, and I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Look, kids buy more merch.
Yeah, kids do buy more merch.
Full disclosure. They just do.
Let's try this. Instead of leaving it up to the parents to decide what is and isn't appropriate for the kids to watch, they kowtowed to all the complaints in the 90s and fucking
made the same product they were putting out before the Monday Night Wars. PG programming, no color policy, safe, cartoonish gimmicks, cartoonish actions. Everyone's a lumberjack or this or that. It's the same goddamn product they were putting out, and then the WCW showed up and started fucking kicking their teeth in, and they had to get real.
Except there's no WCW now, so that they can sit on shit mountain. And please, They don't have the good grace to have gimmicks like a lumberjack, or the bunny, I guess.
Yeah,
But
the
other
bunny.
than that, everybody's fucking gimmick, for the most part, is a guy.
A guy with maybe 2 distinguishing features.
Your faces are blue chippers, your heels are cheaters. The end.
And then you have a couple Bizarro World gimmicks that are obviously the other kind of gimmick, but the commentary team really wants you to believe that they're an X. Like Rusev, he's a heel. No, he's obviously a face.
That guy just craps blue chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that Tostitos is looking to open up a new line of blue corn tortilla chips based entirely on the Rusev sweat.
But it's... I wish that I had a large sum of money that I did not feel I needed to live my life. Or really just a large sum of money, but specifically for this, because I had... And remember, I'm not a booker. I don't really want a book. But I had that moment that you hear authors talk about, where they read a book, or people who watch television, or people who make movies, they watch a movie and go, I could fucking do better than this. I could fucking do better than this.
I have done better than this. I have herded the cats of a bunch of 13-year-old fucking internet people and slapped together an e-fed that has done some awesome shit. And here, 10 years later, despite some hiccups that were entirely my fault, we're still doing pretty great shit.
It's just, I could do better than this.
I shouldn't be able to do better than that.
No, because we're fucking going against Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I should be bowing at his feet like I was 10 years ago.
And it's not... I mean, this is the fucking thing I don't understand. It's like, why... It's like everybody who gets in a position to book a wrestling federation, who gets that kind of money, doesn't know the fuck they're doing. TNA wasn't any fucking better.
TNA was much worse, sir.
TNA was markedly worse than the WWE. What the fuck is wrong with you if you're worse than that shit?
And it's always different shit. But it has the same root. They always start to believe that they're the smartest and the best, and that their ideas are perfect, and that no one can contradict them, and only people with a lot of pull can even try without getting in trouble. They all fall prey to George Lucas syndrome.
Pretty much exactly. Nail on the head. I mean, what you need to do is talk to and work with your people. Yeah, sometimes they're going to come to you with stupid shit. Sometimes, there's an old joke I like to tell about my e-fed. I'm not naming any names here. But there was a question. I used to have a strengths and weaknesses thing where you would list like how the wrestler, what they're good at, and then things that they're bad at. Like, so that I could better write a match based on those things. And we could sell, what your wrestler does well and make them look good at doing it. And what their weaknesses are, we could, when someone's taking advantage of that, you don't feel so bad. The match didn't go poorly because we took something about your character and made it work. And
told a story.
Yeah, told a story, which is fucking wrestling is supposed to be doing. In the ring, out of the ring, whatever. And somebody asked me, why don't we do that anymore? And I said, well, because, okay, I'm going to put it in superhero terms here because it works better. But this is basically how a large portion of the strengths and weaknesses things went. There were people who were fine, who listed good strengths, good weaknesses. But a lot of the times, what you would get is strength, has super strength, is super fast, can shoot lasers from his eyes, can't be killed ever, doesn't need to breathe, has a palace in outer space, is the greatest karate master the world has ever known, and has a pet lion that's pink and speaks perfect Portuguese. And weaknesses, sometimes lasers don't penetrate wood.
Not even all the time.
And sure enough, we brought back a strengths and weaknesses thing at some point. It's been years ago, just as thought exercise. And motherfucking
mostly to prove this point.
Well, no, somebody else did it, and I laughed and went, "Watch this happen." And like, nah, it didn't take. The old hats were there, and they were like, "Oh, there's a wrestler strength, there's a wrestler weakness." And the motherfucker walked in there and was like, "Yeah, my guy's good at this, this, and this, and this." And Well, one of his weaknesses is he wins too much. It wasn't that, but it was like, sometimes when he loses, he gets upset. Fuck. Sometimes your wrestlers are going to come to you with fucking crackpot ideas, way beyond their station. And it's the role of a good booker, a good general manager to say, I like where you're going with that. You got to carefully tell them, give them the soft sell. Look, I don't know if you're ready for that. I don't know if the fans are going to go for that. Why don't we try something here? See how that works. Let's see how they get into this. And you know what? If you guys get the ball rolling, we'll run with it. And then you run with it if it gets rolling.
Because why wouldn't you? You, presumably, as the booker and general manager of the Fed, like money!
I wish I had that kind of money, too. Because I would just go buy a ring and start calling wrestlers.
Because for fuck's sake. But we have spent enough of your time today, listener. We're over time. I think this is probably the farthest overtime we've gone. Thank you for being here. We will hopefully be talking about something we don't hate quite as much next week. We love you.
Next week, is it Friday? Saturday? Sunday? Next week, why don't we talk about the Hobbit movies?
Yeah, we're going to see the Hobbit movies.
We'll talk about the Hobbit movies.
Scheduling just happened to be that we can all go see it next Sunday, so we're going to go see it next Sunday. We'll come home, we'll talk about that. That'll probably be much more pleasant, because, small spoiler alert, we like those movies.
And even if we didn't like those movies, we could still talk about why we hate those movies, and that would be good.
Maybe a little better than they were before, because everything's better when nerds talk about it.
Let's get